Hello. How are you
Good
today?
morning. I'm so well, Thomas. How are you?
Doing very well. I would thank you for joining me today. Um, I'm joined with Rowena Cui of Planit Sound, and we're going to have a conversation today about what you do and how you met uh, the pandemic, and obviously with current events. Obviously, that shifts us again, but just talking about pivots, and then we'll end with silver linings. So, Rowena, would you please explain a little bit about what you do?
Yes, you bet. First, thank you so much, Thomas, for creating this platform for us to have some really meaningful dialogue about our event industry and just to connect. So thank you for having me. So Planit Sound, we are a local production company. We produce anthems, so audio brands, theme songs, videos, and special events. We've been doing that for over 12 years now. And our goal is to provide unparalleled turnkey essential services when it comes to event management solutions for our clients. I think our proudest accomplishment, my first career, and I think you know this, Thomas, we've known each other a while, is I worked in the human services sector, primarily with children and youth. So, and my family fostered for many, many years. I'm a public guardian for a few individuals. So we're very, very involved in the community. So between my husband and I, RJ Cui, my business partner as well, we co-own the company. We've got over 20 years experience working in the nonprofit and community sector. When it comes to events, we're both relentless when it comes to being creative, and which is why we work with you, Thomas. You know, we share those values and we share that vision. And we want to, when we curate our events, we want to help our clients create an event brand story. So through the event planning process, we curate moments for attendees to feel connected. We want them to be a character in the event story and how we're building that out. And that's where we feel, I'm a mentor for a few incredible people. And I always say, you know, if you've never been a mentor, you know, if it's something you want to explore, try it. Being a mentee, I've been one, and I will continue to be a long life mentee. And it's young people who continue to instill the creativity for me, anyways. But yeah, you know, that's where that event magic is. That I always get asked that question: what's the secret sauce? And it's the story, which is exactly what we talked about. I'm like, Thomas, what should we talk about? Let's just talk about our stories and our experiences. And because we primarily work with the nonprofit sector and community engagement opportunities with events, we do a lot of fundraising. We want to help boost their fundraising targets. We want to create emotional moments and journeys that stay with attendees. So we're very honored and privileged to be able to do what we get to do, and to be doing it for over 12 years.
We worked together for a number of years, specifically with United Way and the Then Make Your Mark on Poverty event. And I love being a part of that. That's such a great experience. And what I find, and what you just explained, I love about working with you and RJ is about is how theatrical and how cinematic these events are, and creative. And you do listen to the people in your team, and you use that as a part of what you do and what you put out. So I've always loved it.
Aww.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, darling. It's about relationships, right? Like the event comes to fruition. Sometimes you have an idea or a vision, and sometimes as you're having this dialogue, you know, you and I have that, someone comes up with a great idea, right? And it's part of, you have this whole community that's built into an event, because it takes a village to produce a show. You know, those 13-minute social distances we did with United Way.
Mm-hmm.
You and I know, you know, the amount of work and time and love and investment it takes behind the scenes to put on a 13-minute show, a live broadcast. There's a lot that goes into that, right? And a big part of that is getting everybody's input.
That's right. So I want to get to this, because I think this answers the question about how you responded to the shutdown that happened in March. I'm curious as to how that unfolded for you, and what you decided to make the decision to pivot into obviously doing online, and that's where we came and worked together on that United Way event. But Yeah, take us back to March as to what happened for you and how that unfolded for you.
Oh, goodness gracious. I think all of us event professionals globally will never forget, that March 2020 will always be something that will be forever ingrained. And March 12th, 2020 was the date for us when all events, I think it was 50 at the time, Thomas, no more social gatherings could take place.
Right.
And I remember exactly what I was doing, where I was standing in my office, and my knee-jerk reaction was, okay, we got, what can we do to help? What do we need to do? And the first thing, before we knew that quarantine was coming, because we were seeing it happening globally in other countries, we're like, okay, it's going to come. That's going to come, and we don't know when. And the first thing was to get on the phone or get face to face. We dropped everything and made time to see our clients, and not to say, okay, wow, we're going to lose a bunch of revenue. How are you going to reimagine that? How are we going to look at other fundraising solutions to meet your fundraising targets for the year? That wasn't even the first question, Thomas. The first thing was to check in and to see how they're doing. How are you? How are you feeling? What can we do to help you? And not just help you with your event. We'll figure out a solution with that. But how are we going to help each other cope and journey and navigate through this? I had a client last year, and you were part of this event. I'll leave her nameless, but it was our She Innovates event that we did together last year on the 16th floor. And she says, sometimes, Rowena, we're going to be building the plane as we're flying it. And sometimes you get the best results out of that pressure to perform, to contribute, and to be solution focused. And that was our reaction. First and foremost is, how do we help each other? How do we help our clients?
Yeah, that I think that's everybody's response is that, immediately we thought about, the people that we work with and for, and creating what you say, these experiences for them. And that's why we are in the business. We're passionate about that. And so from that, you then decided to create solutions. And obviously live stream online was the, the obvious pivot, but was the United Way the only live stream event that you did, or was that kind of like a pilot for you? And a little bit about that event, if you don't mind.
Yes, you bet, Thomas. Well, Planit Sound, we've been producing virtual events for almost 8 years.
Oh,
so when it came to, and I don't even know if you and I had a chance, because we just hit the ground running, right? As soon as we got the green light from United Way to reimagine all of their upcoming events, we just plowed right through. But yeah, Planit Sound, we've been producing virtual events for over 8 years. So that pivot, that reimagine, we were able to do that. And that was the initial immediate solution, and trying to find cost-effective ways, and also ways to maintain social distancing, right, is what we needed to do. But we presented that solution to all of our clients across the board, and every single one, we're proud. Again, it goes back to relationships. We've always focused on aligning the business that we want to do, the creative magic that we want to build, to attract those clients and to attract people like you, and to attract, our partners and vendors and suppliers. And so when we presented the solution, it was a no-brainer. They're like, okay, we trust you. We've been working together, United Way, we've been working together for over 8 years with them. So we've come to a place where when we come together and say, okay, we've got a problem, we've got a challenge, and coming from my social work background, I'm all about being solution focused. I am relentless. And you know that, Thomas, I do not take no for an answer. And the impossible, I'm like, give it to me. Let's make it happen. Yeah. And, it was about the kids and our lovely, dear friend, our mutual friend, and Edmonton's First Lady and incredible social advocate in our community, Sarah Chan, just a huge champion for our young people. And she chaired that event, Denton's Make Your Mark with United Way. She founded that initiative. And for those of you who don't know about this project that Thomas and I worked on, Denton's Make Your Mark is it's all about celebrating student leadership in our community. These are young people K to 12 who have come up with innovative unique solutions to end poverty in their community. And there's a whole granting process that comes with that. And United Way is a partner with that. And there's a whole committee that comes to support. And so the social distance idea came from Thomas. So proud to say that we were seeing these things happen. And then when we saw, and someone was telling me, you know, they're like, Rowena, you were talking about doing these like distance parties. There was that app that came out, House Party. And then I'm like, oh, this is something that we should approach Thomas. And then literally, darling, the next day you texted me and Sarah and said, hey, I'm doing these things. I'm launching these online events called Social Distances. I'm like, okay, here we go. Presented to United Way and we hit the ground running and there you go.
Yeah, that's when everything kind of comes together. Well, and this actually makes a lot of sense that you've been doing this for 8 years because it all came together. At least that foundation felt very solid. So for me as a vendor, I had an opportunity to learn with you because it was an uphill learning curve, which was interesting and I did enjoy it. And now I'm applying that to what I'm doing now. So that was I think a good like a symptom of something that a spin-off of what you do. And that event specifically, working with a larger company, like Invert 720, working with you, working with a client, I find that it's an education process because there's a lot of larger clients that don't necessarily understand the virtual realm and they need to be reassured. And I think that that event is a great example to present to any client, saying that virtual and digital event presentation is viable and interesting. It wasn't like, again, it's just a 13-minute hit that led. There were 3 of them that led into that 30-minute
Yes.
event, and everything was like clockwork. I mean, not without it's like hiccups, but that was a part of it, wasn't it? That was a part of the experience.
It is. I think one of the pieces, it took me back to, my TV broadcast days. Yes, I am. I may look a little bit more youthful, but yes, I did at the time think I wanted to go into TV broadcasts and be on the news and all that good stuff. So it really is, we are in that world. We are building mini television shows. That's the lens that us event professionals need to put on to produce these standout, engaging live events, virtual live events. And what was unique about these social distances and the Denton's Make Your Mark events, we did 3 of them, and then we did the main event that was a half an hour, is it was all live, right? And so you're seeing a mixture out there, right? I think you and I have, we've attended our share in this very short period of time of virtual events, and some of them are a mixture of pre-recorded and live. And we really wanted to embrace the authenticity that we're all at home. We are all self-isolating. The curtain has been pulled back and you are seeing our raw self. I had my little guy, we had a really big meeting and a Zoom call, and he decided, you know what, I'm going to be a Fortnite character. He took his clothes off, took washable markers and did all these designs on his face and was doing his thing. And people love that. People love to kind of get to know and get the deeper layers of who you are. So I feel that was the special sauce that we brought through those Denton's Make Your Mark events. It was authentic. And you're right. When you're doing, one of the things we always educate our clients about and give that cautionary tale is, we are as best and great with your live broadcast as your Wi-Fi. So if there's going to be some sort of Wi-Fi issue, connectivity, we just got to roll with it, right? And so that's why you got to curate a team like Sarah, yourself, Invert, the amazing students in schools who said, you know what, we get it, Rowena. If something happens, and all the prep that we did behind the scenes, right, Thomas? Like we would do an hour's rehearsal, and then we'd be on the call at least an hour and a half before, running through, going through the timing, making sure the show flow, hit all those points, because attention span is so limited. All of us are in front of a screen right now. That much more, right? That much more important that we are putting out content that is interesting, that is dynamic, and that is meaningful.
So moving forward, how do you see the rest of this year, and then moving into 2021? Do you think that, like, how do you see the state of the event industry? Now, you're also involved with ILEA,
Yes.
and how are you involved with ILEA again? You're the chair, one of the chairs.
Yes, I'm so ILEA is our International Live Events Association,
Mhm.
and so we in Edmonton chapter. I sit on the board as vice president of membership.
Yes.
And thank you for bringing that up. And I know we're going to do some more work with ILEA too, Thomas, in the next
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you betcha. But I think yeah, I feel like we're gonna I think no matter what the restrictions and as things start to loosen up, the regulations, the restrictions,
Mhm.
I think we'll embrace that. I think people are going to be really excited. I
Mhm.
think at the same time, we have a responsibility as ILEA, as event professionals, to say, okay, this is all great, but let's remember the great pause that we just experienced, and let's take away all those learnings and use this as an opportunity to say, okay, we've been humbled by this crisis. We have been humbled by this pandemic. Um, let's look at our foundation as to how we work and how we produce live events. Are there any cracks? Are there any potential for cracks or new cracks? And really be, I feel like our response, there has to be some gradual excitement, embracing of coming together again in large gatherings,
Mhm.
and just safety, just remembering that health and safety needs to be the top priority, and
Yes.
that we could still and again, as creative minds, as a creative sector, we are known for making the impossible possible.
Mhm.
So bring it on, and that's what it was too, when we had to pivot, reimagine, and go straight to virtual events with our clients.
Yeah.
That's what you do. But it's knowing that this is temporary, right? And I think that's important, is having those conversations with your clients, your vendors, your staff, and saying, yeah, this has been hard, but it's okay,
Mhm.
because all this that we're enduring and experiencing is going to prepare us for the future, prepare us for the next chapter.
Right.
The other solution that we've done is we happen to be working on an app. It's called Live. It was an app that was we partnered with someone in Asia that we've worked with. We've had relationships with there over the years, and with our brother-in-law doing work with him.
Mhm.
And it was a marathon app that we were looking at, and we were able to pause the process and that technology. We're in the final stages of building it to turn it into a digital fundraising solution. So any local international fundraiser walks and runs can now do that virtually and online. So you're seeing these pop up too. So that's another option that we've been utilizing. So I feel like from now until the rest of 2020, although there's uncertainty, the things that we do know is that live events will never go away. As social creatures and humans, we need to connect. We need, like, I can't wait. Thomas and I always talk about when we're able to hug, it's going to be like that long, awkward hug, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
No, and we're not going to let go. And
That's great.
to
Yeah.
embrace and remember the little things, right? I think that we are going to produce events with more joy. I think we're going to produce them with more intent. And
Mhm.
I feel like we're going to really invest in our relationships in a deeper way.
I think you just that's a good, that dovetails nicely into the whole silver lining. I think you're absolutely right. I think it is about what you're saying. It's about taking this time. Obviously, you're with family. You're more
Yeah.
conscious about the people that you work with, and then of course, the greater community. And more than
Yes.
ever, as creatives, I think it behooves us to stand up and to really be accountable to what we do. And that's what the part of this series is about. It's about letting people know that the event industry is dynamic. It
Yes.
has so many different aspects to it, and that because of this time, that we have this opportunity to go from of in present, like being present events, to kind of like this, what you've been doing for 8 years, a virtual hybrid.
Yeah.
And then people are more comfortable with that. And then what does
Yeah.
that look like? So for silver linings, what do you see for the rest of, well, not for the rest of the pandemic, are there any silver linings for you?
Oh, I think I am built to, if I can give a good analogy, with my husband and I, we are complete opposites. He says, I see the world in unicorns and bubble gum and, things. There's always a positive. And, he's very science-based, very fact-based, evidence-based. And that's okay. We embrace that. But silver linings for me is I'm excited. I think that we are going to be able to come out of this not only stronger, but better. I think all the things that we thought we mastered or were really great at as event professionals, as creatives,
Mhm.
we have had, this time has given us the opportunity to reflect and to raise the bar. I feel like, what I've been hearing, from my LIA members, from other event professionals, you and I have had these deeper conversations, is people have a stronger sense of who they are.
Mm.
And when you have a stronger sense of who you are and what really matters and what you really need to live and to be joyful, when you choose a job or when you're choosing your next event or creative project, it's going to be that much more worth it. And it's going to be that much more exciting because we've invested emotion. It's not just a job. It's not just a checklist of, okay, did we have decor? Do we have centerpieces? Do we have sponsors? It's going to be, why do we need that decor? Why do we want to align with that sponsor? Why do we need to raise that amount of money? It's going to be more educational.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, and I think we're going to end up just fine. So thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you so much, Thomas. Be well and take care,
Okay,
everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
sounds good. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Thank you.